Hello, everyone. Sufit here. I'm here today with Chuck Ticker, mediator of sibling estate disputes and the author of the popular book, Bobby Gets Bubkiss, Navigating the Sibling Estate Fight. Chuck joins us today from the siblingguy.com. Welcome, Chuck.
Hi, Sophie. Good to be back.
So, I have a question for you today. What are the three things that should never, ever, 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 ever be said in a mediation?
Number one, this is my final offer. Of course, everybody says this at mediations. And I, as mediator, always take it with a grain of salt because I never buy it. Because there's so many times they say, this is my final offer. And then negotiation goes on for another 2 hours back and forth. So obviously, um, it's just setting up this artificial uh, obstacle or ploy or whatever you want to call it, and it doesn't work. And um, yes, people when they say that they're frustrated, they feel they're at the end of the line. But I always try to convince them that don't say it's a final offer. Let's see what we can do here with this offer. Let's see how we can work with it.
Yeah, I guess that might be the first cousin of take it or leave it, right?
Yeah, it's a very common negotiation tactic, but I would suggest it's not particularly effective, and the other side's probably going to ignore it.
Yeah, and you might lose some credibility too, wouldn't you? Because
I
if
agree.
you say
Yeah,
the final
definitely.
offer and then 10 minutes later there's another offer. Okay, what's number two?
The number two is, and you get this all the time, it will be early in the day. Uh, we're out of here by 5 o'clock. And
Why shouldn't the party say that?
well, even though it's scheduled to 5 o'clock, I always tell parties, it's not unusual for these things to go beyond 5 o'clock. I mean, don't necessarily want to go to 12 midnight, but if the parties are talking and you're making progress, then let's go beyond five and let's see if we can end up with a settlement. By setting that time limit right at the start of the day, first of all, I think you're putting pressure on yourself because you're looking at that clock and you really should be concentrating on the negotiation. Also, if you go beyond the 5 o'clock, uh, now maybe you have a credibility issue as well. You said to the other side, we're out of here by 5. On the other side, so well, look, they're still talking. It's 7.
So
So
that signals weakness, doesn't it?
yeah, I think so. So better to just keep an open mind and say, look, it'd be great if we could be out here by 5 o'clock, but if you want to be out early, then let's do some serious negotiating, and
Yeah.
in good faith in negotiations and see where it goes.
Yeah, that's a really good point because if it's like 7 o'clock, the guy said he's going to be out of there at 5, you're still negotiating at 7. He signaled to you that his word doesn't mean anything. And if he says it's his final offer or that's all he's offering, you know that there's more room there, right?
Right.
Okay. And number three, what would you say is the third thing never, ever, 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 ever to say in a mediation?
I know something you don't know.
Oh, that sounds so childish. I know something you don't know.
Well, I don't want to insult the parties that come to these mediations, but sometimes adult children are not much different than they were as young siblings. But uh, no, there are certain
Why
things.
shouldn't people say that? Why shouldn't people say that?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that. Now, sometimes when I'm meeting privately with the parties, they'll say, look, this is something I don't want them to know, well, not now or ever. And it's something confidential that, I'll respect that confidence, but sometimes I'll say, you should share this information. Have you thought about sharing it? And we can work with it a certain way because it actually might be helpful in moving the negotiations forward. But sometimes they'll just put out something like they'll go to the other side, say, well, if you go to court, I got something up my sleeve, that you watch out, you're in for a big surprise. And that just gets everybody's back up. It destroys the trust. And people say, what are you talking about? You know something I don't know. What is it that you know? Let's get it out in the open and let's talk about it.
Right. So that's going to impede settlement, isn't it? It's kind of like an implied threat almost. And yeah.
Well, Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a business negotiation, would you say to, the prospective purchaser of your business or seller of the business on the other side, I know something you don't know? I mean, how far is that going to go?
Right. Right. Okay. Well, so three things that Chuck has shared with us never to say in a mediation. Number one, this is my final offer. Number two, I'm out of here at 5. And number three, I know something you don't know. Our guest today has been Chuck Ticker, mediator of sibling estate disputes and author of the popular book Bobby Gets Bupkis. You can find Chuck at thesiblingguide.com. And if you haven't already subscribed to this YouTube channel, hit subscribe, hit like, make sure you leave a comment. Have you ever heard any of these three things said in a mediation? Or what did we miss? Is there a fourth thing that we should have added to the list that shouldn't be said in a mediation? Make sure you hit comment, like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. So feed out. Thank
Thanks.
you, Charles.
Thank you.